as a woman, have you ever been told that you shouldn't be going car shopping alone? And have you ever had to deal with the daunting task of having to go by yourself because you have no other choice? What are the tips that you should know that could help you from making some full prone mistakes in buying a vehicle yourself? And how do you get around the anxiety of feeling like you're being duped? In this video, I'm going to show you all the tips you need to buy the car of your dreams all by yourself. And I will let you know exactly how I've done it several times and I've always gotten the car I want. And I will teach you in this video, watch to the end, of how you could use your feminine energy to make sure that you get the best deal. Stay tuned and we'll get into it. So a lot of my friends asked me to make this video because they were like, I really need to understand how you do it, TD, because it's like you'll just go to the dealership, get a car, no problem. And I am petrified of doing this on my own. So I am here to help you. I'm your sis, help you to do this on your own because it's not that hard. Number one, make sure your credit is in check before you do anything. Before you do anything, if you have time, make sure your credit is in check. And we'll get into what you do when your credit is out of whack and you still need a car because there's ways around both. So the first thing is you want to get your credit in the best place you can. So that means you're paying down your debt, you're doing what you need to do, you're making payments on time, and you're getting your credit to at least I would say around a 650. I feel like a 650 is really all you need because the truth is they don't just look at your credit score. A lot of people think that when you go to the car dealership, that's all they look at, but they actually look at your income more than they look at your credit score. And let me explain. They look at how long you've been in your job and whether you could cover the cost of the vehicle with like your assets in your income. So if you make a pretty decent income, if your credit is a little bit lower on the lower side, you may still be okay. But if your income is, a little bit to the low side, you may want to make sure that your credit is in really, really good shape, like around the 700s. But if you have like a higher income, like a six-figure income or like 100K at least, then you may be able to shake a 680 credit score and still be able to purchase a vehicle. But the first thing I would do is get your credit together. If you have good credit, then what I would do is before you even go to the dealership, make sure that you shop around the banks and get a loan from the bank. If you have good enough credit to get a loan from the bank, you should get a loan from the bank because the bank is always going to give you a better score and a better deal than anything else. If you don't have good credit, either you could go to a lender who specializes in bad credit for loans like lending tree or something or upstart or something like that that will actually give you the sum of money that you can use to get the car even if you don't have the best credit. It's going to have a higher interest rate, but the good thing about that is you can give the dealer the payment and you just pay it off with upstart. The other thing you could do if you don't have the best credit is work with the dealership. I know a lot of people say don't work with the dealership, they'll play you, but if you don't have the best credit, it is the best option for you. It is a good option for you to go to the dealership because they will work with you. The next tip I have for you, get the car at the end of the month. I cannot stress this enough. Get the car at the end of the month. So let's say the month ends on the 31st and the car dealership is open the 29th, the 30th, and the 31st. I need you to go to the car dealership on the 29th. I need you to go on the 29th because I'm going to explain to you what you're going to go do next when you go on the 29th. Now, after you get your loan, you get your credit together, you figure out what you want to do next, whether it's you don't have the best credit and you're going to go work with the dealership, or you're going to use one of the Lending Tree or Upstart or one of these different lenders that actually lends to more people with less great credit, then you are going to go to the car dealership. Now, let's say it's the 29th. Remember, car dealerships open 29th, 30th, 31st. I'm going to go to the car dealership. Make sure you understand what car you want, because people will try to sell you any car that's on the lot. So you need to be sure what car you want. In our era right now, 2025, there is a very short supply of cars. So sometimes you may not be able to get the car that you want. So always have about 4 options that you can go with of cars that you want. Also, give yourself enough time to shop around. You don't want to just go to one place. You want to make sure that you go to like 3 different places to get some different ideas of what you want. Now, those 3 different places do not have to be the same type of dealership. So let's say that you want a BMW. Don't go to 3 different BMW dealerships, but go to like a BMW dealership, an Audi dealership, and maybe a Lexus dealership and see what they have there. Also, that's going to help you with bargaining, and make sure that you compare these cars before you go to understand like which cars are comparable to each other, because that's going to help you in negotiation, which we're going to get to later, but you got to stay tuned for that. So, the next thing that you're going to do is when you go in there, have a number in your mind of how much you're willing to pay a month for the car. Also, understand your needs. Some people may do better with a lease. Some people may do better with buying the car. In my experience, if you're one of those people who likes to change out your car every 3 years, if you're one of those people that puts a lot of miles on your car every year, you're probably better leasing. And here's why. If you put a lot of miles on the car is going to heavily depreciate. And so after 3 years, you probably won't be done paying off the car. And now the car has depreciated and you got a bunch of miles on it. So you're probably not going to get much back for it. Or it may be negative even. So sometimes leasing a car when you're in that situation just gives you the flexibility to just get a new car every 3 years if you're driving a lot. I'll give an example. I used to drive about 100 miles to work every day. And so because I used to drive so much, I used to put a lot of miles on a car every year. And so first I owned and I put a bunch of miles on the car. And even though I was able to sell it, I didn't get much back for it because it had depreciated so heavily. So that's when in that area of my life, I was like, I'll just lease for now because it makes more sense because I'm just going to end up buying a new car anyway. Now, if that's not your scenario, that's okay. Also, at some car dealerships, they do have lease to buy options, which means that after you've leased a car for a certain amount of time, they give you the option to buy it for the rest of whatever the value of the car is. I would say always go with that option. Or go with car dealerships that have that option, because if you end up in a situation at the end of your lease that you want to just keep the car, you could just keep the car and you could buy out your lease. Then, next, we're going to talk about knowing the number. So know the number in your head when you go into that car dealership. You are not going to move that number, but any number that you tell the car salesman, because they will ask you what the number is, any number that they give you or that you are asked to give, always go about $300 down from what you're actually asking. So if they come up to me and I know I can afford $400 a month, I'm going to tell them $200 a month. Why do I do that? Because most likely they will come back with $400 a month and then we are okay. But if I tell them $400 a month, they're going to come back with $600. And what I compare it to is what we call Black people time in our culture. So, Black people time is basically a colloquialism that means that If you invite Black people to a party or an event, they are going to be late and they are going to show up on something called CP time. Okay. Now, given that, one of the things that I used to do with my friends is I used to tell them a time, meaning I would tell them 12. But really, we was going to start at 3. But if I told them 12, they would show up at 3. But if I told them 3, they're going to show up at 6. So it's the same thing when it comes to negotiating. You always want to go lower than what you actually are willing to pay so that if they go higher, they'll probably meet you where you're at. So that's a really good pro tip. So when you are negotiating, make sure that you are okay with walking away if they do not give you what you want. Now, that's the reason why I'm telling you to go on the 29th. Remember that rule I told you? The reason why I'm saying that is because what you're going to do is you're going to go at the end of the month, because the end of the month is the best time to purchase a car because they need to hit a quota in how many cars they need to sell. So by that time, the car dealership people are very desperate. Like they want to get these cars off the lot. They're trying to meet a quota. So if you go on the 29th, you are in a stronger position than if you go on like the 3rd of the month. So you go on the 29th, they don't give you the deal you want. You walk away. You're like, I'm going to go look at other places. And you do. Go look at other places. Don't just, give them lip service. Actually go look at other places, because I'm going to explain to you what you're going to do when you go back. So the next day, you're going to go back to the dealership. You're going to say, I went and I looked at such and such comparable car and they gave me this deal. So can we potentially just talk about like the number or whatever they're talking about? If you said 200 and they said 400 as the monthly note, then you're going to go up to 250. Can you guys do anything with that? Mind you, today's the 30th. Today is the 30th. So he's going to go back and he's going to come back. Most likely the number he comes back is going to be good because it's the 30th. It's the 30th. So it's hot now. So you could go back and forth with them. If they don't give you the number you want, be prepared to leave again. And don't be in a place where you're like, you're not going to come back, but just say, you know what? Let me just keep looking and I'm going to get back to you. Okay. Now, most likely in this situation, they're going to try to keep you in the dealership and try to negotiate the price a little bit more. But if they don't, what you're going to do is you're going to come back the next day and you're going to tell them that this is the amount that I'm willing to pay. Go up $50 higher. So now we're at 300. He was at 400, okay? You're going up to 300. You're like, I will drive the car off the lot today. I am prepared to leave today. I have the down payment. I have it. I am prepared to leave today if you can just give me this. I guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, they will give you the car for that price. You're there on the 31st. It's the last day of the month. They need to get these cars out of here. They will most likely give you what you want. I'm saying it because I've experienced it several times. Okay? Now, that is how you go through the negotiations. The other tip I would give, only get a certified or a new vehicle, especially if you're going by yourself. Unless you're going with an actual person who fixes cars. And I'm not talking about, your man or your dad who like is handy a little bit. I'm talking about a mechanic who fixes cars. You get a certified pre-owned or you get a new vehicle that's at least 2 years old, no older than 2 years old, no more than 20K miles. You do the math as to what you can afford. That's within that. But the reason why I say that is after about 50,000 miles, some cars start having issues. And so you want to get it when it's a little bit newer. And you also certified pre-owned. The reason why those are good is because they're used, but they've also gone through, I think it's about 100-point checks in order to make sure that the car is viable and that it has everything loaded up for you. So just remember that pro tip as well when you're going to get a car. Now, like, share, subscribe if you know someone who's having this issue and they're trying to buy a car and they're scared of buying it themselves. We've all been there where you don't have anyone to go with you and you need to go yourself, but that's not going to stop you from getting your vehicle and having your soft life, sis. So, what I want y'all to do is like, comment if this helped you, comment if you have any questions, because I know the process could be really confusing and I really want to help people. Or share if you know anyone who's dealing with this. All right. Talk to y'all soon. Hope y'all have a good day. Bye.